Sexism, scary sexism. It's getting uglier every day, especially during the holiday season. In fact, men, I just want to give you a huge, big tip this year while shopping. Do not, I repeat, get your wife any kind of exercise equipment that she may have put on her wish list. Don't get her any healthy weight loss product that she might have wanted. Don't get her anything that will make her healthier or happier or beautiful at all. Because then, if you do, you're going to be showing yourself as the evil patriarchal man that you are, according to the left. Also, women, I know this time of year we're gathering with our friends and family, and especially if you're single, you're asking your female friends, hey, what kind of guy are you looking for? I might be able to set you up. Well, don't do that, because then you're going to be showing that even as a woman, you're sexist too. Then we're going to talk about the best way to honor women, and that is to put men in a dress on a magazine cover. All that and more on this episode of Deconstructing the Culture. I am your host, Elisa Steele. Peloton, the latest casualty in the left's outrage media smear war on basically anything. I think really the left gets bored. Really, that's the conclusion I've come to. The left gets bored if there's not enough actual outrage to go around. They have to invent their own, or if the outrage isn't what they want to be outraged about, they'll just invent something and totally slam an innocent company or individual for reasons that are non-existent, but they'll invent them so that they have something to be outraged about. Well, that's what happened this week with Peloton. Their stock took a nosedive this last week after a backlash on Twitter about a 30-second holiday ad that came out advertising their exercise bike. Very outrageously priced exercise bike, I will say. I don't think I would ever pay over $2,000 for an exercise bike. I'd probably just ride a real bike at that point, but that's besides the point. If you like expensive exercise bikes, good for you. So this is the ad. Essentially, a very fit, trim woman comes in, shows her husband smiling and happy, and a Peloton exercise bike right there waiting for her. And she's super excited and happy. And then she proceeds to show you various clips of her videotaping herself, showing like a video diary of her doing it every day, and she's super excited and shows time progressing as the seasons change outside the window. And then at the end, it shows man and woman, the wife and the husband, sitting on the couch watching her video diary and smiling and happy. And she says, I had no idea that this would change my life so much.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Now.
A Peloton? Give it up for our first time ride.
All right, first ride. I'm a little nervous, but excited. Let's do this. 5 days in a row. You surprised? I am.
6 a.m. Yay.
Rising with the sun.
That was totally worth it.
Let's go, Grace in Boston. 50 rides.
She just said my name. A year ago, I didn't realize how much this would change me. Thank you.
This holiday, give the gift of Peloton.
Basically, it's supposed to be like this feel-good ad of like how taking your health into your own hands can like make you feel better about yourself, which is basically what I got from the ad, okay? And here I am watching it, and I swear I had to watch a dozen times trying to find what was so wrong with this ad. And then I thought, surely I have the wrong ad, because I'm not finding anything in this 30 seconds of watching a lady log her workout journey. And I'm not saying anything super wrong about this. Well, don't worry. The left can find something wrong with anything, even something as benign as a workout bike. Well, the conversation got so horrible that now the male actor in this ad, whose face was shown for probably about 5.5 seconds, is now receiving a backlash on social media, and he's kind of like a little freaked out over it, which I don't really blame him. He's been dragged into this, and he was just an actor doing an acting gig. So he says in here, according to Good Morning America, quote, people turned down a pretty dark path, and it turned into a nasty thing, the actor told Good Morning America. My image is being associated with sexism, with the patriarchy, with abuse. With these words, I'm seeing people write about me. It's not who I am. And he continues, I currently sit here hoping that I'll be able to continue auditioning for commercials without any taint. And if my students, by the way, he's a teacher, if my students happen to find the commercial and recognize me, they won't think about me any different than when they already knew me. He told Psychology Today. If they recognize me on the street, if I'm recognized on the street, what will people's first opinions of me be? Now, that's what happens when the left goes after a smear campaign over nothing. They do affect real people's real life. Now, you might be asking, Elisa, what you described didn't sound that intense. Why is this man going through such intense adversity because of what you described? Are you sure you didn't miss something, Elisa? My answer is no, I did not miss anything. I swear, I promise I didn't. But I'll tell you what the left has read into it. Now, according to an article on The Guardian, some of what the left is reading into it is they've actually titled their headline here, the actor in the ad that drew backlash is making the controversy about him and bizarrely casting himself as a victim. Oh, you mean the innocent acting guy whose face was shown for 5 seconds when you attacked him? He's not a victim? Huh, all right then. I don't know what universe you're from, Guardian. But Guardian continues to write, for those of you who haven't seen the ad yet, this is the way the left, or one of members of the left, describes this ad. A woman gets a Peloton 2,400 Wi-Fi enabled exercise bike from her husband, Hunter, for Christmas. She starts a video diary of her sessions and managed to give the unnerving impression that her husband will beat her or leave her if she doesn't wake up early every morning to exercise on her fancy bike. Okay. Wow, you read all that into the same 30-second ad that I just explained and watched a dozen times, and I could not find that. It's literally a lady just excited about her health journey, and you're somehow reading into it that this guy's gonna beat her or leave her if she doesn't? His ad's literally on for 5 seconds at the end, smiling at her, saying, I'm so proud of you, and that you're happy because you're showing me this and you're happy. Like, what? Oh my gosh. This Guardian writer continues, I suggest you watch the ad for yourself because words can't do justice to how cringeworthy the ad is. Indeed, when I first saw it trending, I assumed Peloton had made the awful ad on purpose so that it would go viral. The company is valued at several $billion after all. Surely it knows what it's doing. Well, they thought they did, but when you have a leftist outrage media group that will attack you for anything, apparently nothing's safe. So there you go. Then this person continues, and then I watched the sexist and dystopian ad. Oh, it's sexist and dystopian now. In a world where you can have a nice, pretty, clean home and a husband who loves you and then gives you the Christmas present that you want for Christmas, that's dystopian? All right. Okay, I wonder what your utopia looks like. This person continues, it was a tongue-in-cheek terrible. It wasn't just tongue-in-cheek terrible. It was terrible. It attempts to portray getting on an exercise bike as some sort of life-changing spiritual journey, inadvertently lifted a lid on the wellness industry, revealing it as an expensive scam. Really then? Okay, so getting healthy is an expensive scam. It's not like, I don't know, good for you, make you live longer, anything like that. I can think of a lot of other things. Although I do agree that some products are an expensive scam, but that's a different story. So this lady, this writer continues to say that they have some sympathy for the fact that Hunter's face is now associated with a viral ad the entire internet is dunking on, but it's also somewhat ironic that a man with 5 seconds of airtime has set out to prove he isn't a symbol of the patriarchy by making the Peloton ad controversy entirely about him and bizarrely casting himself as a victim. Hunter could have spent 5 minutes thinking critically about why the ad was being called sexist. Well, Hunter could have, but you know what? He would come to the same conclusion I came to, which is it's not sexist. Man lovingly gives his wife the gift she wants, and that's sexist? Heck no. Listen, I live in a small, modest 2-bedroom, 2-bath home, and I can tell you right now, if I had the extra space for like a treadmill or a Peloton bike, yeah, I think I'd ask my husband for one too, and it wouldn't be sexist if he gave me one. It would be really nice and considerate. And that's what this ad was showing, okay? Ugh, my goodness. So here's the thing. As ridiculous as this whole thing has been, I think it really isn't that's surprising or new. The truth is, our leftist compadres on the other side, they've been calling a lot of things sexist that aren't sexist. In fact, I recently watched, I don't even know why, but for some reason this video showed up in my Facebook news feed, and it was really short. In fact, I'll play it for you here in a second. But it was titled "Hollywood Stars Reply to Sexist Questions." Ooh, and so I was curious, morbidly so, and I thought, you know what? I wonder what Hollywood questions are going to be so sexist because, you know, curiosity struck me. So I clicked play, and I'm gonna tell you some of my favorites. But here, I'm gonna go ahead and play that little video clip real quick, and then we'll talk about some of my favorites.
What are you looking for in a man now?
I'm not looking for a man. Let's start there.
If you could use makeup or your phone one last time, which one would you pick? Makeup or your phone?
Is this what you think girls have trouble choosing between?
Yeah.
How do you balance your career and having a friend? Are you going to ask all the men that tonight?
Okay, so let me be honest. I kind of laughed and watched this a couple times because I think it's entertaining that there is such a thing as sexism. I'm not saying sexism doesn't exist, but what the left decides to tackle for sexism is so just bizarre and funny to me because it's not sexist to admit that, first of all, genders are different. I'll get into that. And how we view men and women and what we're going to ask them is going to be a little bit different because we do have different roles in society, historically and just biologically. But then here's my favorite though, is I think it was Ariana Grande who they asked, if you could choose between makeup or your phone one last time, which one would you choose? And she gets all offended. She's like, is this what you think girls have trouble choosing between? And I'm like, well, guys probably aren't going to have any trouble choosing between makeup and their phone, at least until a minute ago. But no, for the most part, that's just an innocent, funny question. You're not supposed to take it personally. I asked the Vice President of the United States' daughter, who, by the way, is very charming, I asked Charlotte if pineapple should go on pizza. And it was a funny, lighthearted question. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. I can't imagine Charlotte being like, is that what you think I care about? If pineapple should go on pizza? Like, come on. Is that what you're going to, Ariana Grande, is that what you're going to choose? To the hill you're going to die on, that you're going to get so offended over? There are so many things in life to be offended over, and you're going to pick nothing to be offended over. Same with the Peloton bike ad. Let's be real. There's no sexism in there. And there's no sexism in asking someone if a silly, lighthearted question on a radio show. Or, for instance, here's another one. What are you looking for in a man now? And she replies, I'm not looking for a man. Let's start there. Well, that's unfortunate. Why aren't you looking for a man? I'm not saying that you have to, but why would you be so offended? And why is it sexist to ask you, what would you be looking for in a spouse? What would you be looking for in a male to spend the rest of your life with? Why is that sexist? It's not sexist to ask someone, what is your preference in the opposite sex? There's nothing sexist about that. Men look for things in a woman as well. That's not sexist either way. It's a normal question that we ask to get a better feel for maybe who we can set our friend up with, or to get an idea of the person, a better idea of the person we're talking to and what they value and what they prize most highly in a spouse or in a long-term best friend, because my husband is my best friend and the person who will be the father to my children. So I just think that's ridiculous. It's not sexist, but here we are in an outrage culture that calls everything sexist, including buying an exercise bike for your wife because that's what she put on her wish list. I'll go over one more. Let's see. Oh, how do you balance your career and having a personal life? I think that was asked to Keira Knightley. Could be wrong. I can't remember. But basically, she just replied. She gets offended. Are you going to ask all the men that tonight? Now, let me pause right here. This is a question that gets asked to women more than men, and for good reason. Men and women are not the same. We have different roles. Let me say that again. Men and women are not the same. We have different roles, and that's okay. It's not sexist to acknowledge that we are different and have different roles. yes, it is harder, I believe, in my personal opinion, and the opinion of many whom I've spoken to, it is harder for women to balance a career and home life because women, unlike men, grow babies in our uterus and we create life. And then, yes, we do bond to our children differently, not more or less, just differently. And yes, it is a sacrifice for women to be away from their children. I'm not saying more than men, but in a different way because men and women are different. And so, yes, it can be difficult for women to find that work home life balance, but it can also be difficult for men. But historically, it can be a little more challenging for women. This is a question I myself have asked several women how they handle their work family life balance. I even asked Babe Buchanan, who is a beautiful example of a hardworking woman. She was the first, or I think the youngest treasurer of the United States under Ronald Reagan. Bae is a wonderful, wonderful woman, extraordinarily pro-life. I know she was a single mom for many years. Just a fantastic lady. I have asked her that question as well. It's not a sexist question to ask women that because men and women are different. And to say that we're exactly the same and we have the exact same struggles and the exact same choices and difficulties and challenges to overcome isn't true. Many are the same, many are comparable, but many are also different. And that's not sexist to acknowledge that. It's beautiful to acknowledge our differences. Okay? So you really just chalk this up to Hollywood calling everything sexist that they don't like. But I am going to tell you about something that a situation, an article that I found to be incredibly interesting in light of this issue because they scream about sexism, but then they embrace one of the most horrific, horrible things I can even imagine. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. But before we talk about that, I would like to pause here for just a minute and please ask you to subscribe, leave a review, especially on iTunes or YouTube. Subscribing and leaving a review there is really, really constructive, just for me to be able to bump in the ratings. It's just all around. You guys are amazing. I love having this community, but it does help when you guys subscribe and leave a review and share it with a friend. So thank you for doing that in advance. And let's go ahead and talk about feminism and how we need it right now, because just, feminism brings you all the crazy things. And one of the craziest things that's brought us in our most recent history is the embrace of abortion, because everyone knows it's the most feminist thing you can do to kill a baby girl in the womb because of an inconvenience. Yeah, that's really, really feminist. Yeah. So in a headline titled Jamie, I think he's Jamiel, I don't actually know how to say her name. Jamil is the feminist in progress we need right now. It's a recent article in a fashion magazine, Harper's Bazaar, where legendary extremist Gloria Steinem was interviewed / celebrated by British actress and model Jamil, who stars in the NBC Death After sitcom The Good Place. By the way, I really tried to get into The Good Place. It's horrible. It's just so boring. Duh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a deconstruction on that. Not to mention it's incredibly leftist. But I'm so sorry for those of you who told me Good Place was good. I had to give it a chance. I tried to give it a chance. It was terrible. Anyways, going back to our topic. So back in May, Jamil, she caused a ruckus by tweeting like a typical feminist would do about her awesome abortion. She said, quote, I had an abortion when I was young, and it was the best decision I ever made, both for me and for the baby I didn't want. So many children will end up in foster homes, so many lives ruined, so very cruel. So what you're saying is abortion, killing children is the best thing for them. You're saying that's the best decision you ever made for yourself and for your unwanted baby. So the best thing for a baby is to kill it. Okay. So how does that extend, let's say if that unwanted baby is just a little bit older, let's say a year and a half old, if that unwanted baby is so unwanted that it might end up in a foster home, is it better for you to kill that child, that year and a half year old child, then let it go to a foster home, because age of a human being doesn't make their life any more or less human. They're just as human in the womb as they are outside of the womb. It's just disgusting. She's literally saying that the best thing that could happen to an unborn baby is for it to be killed. Gross. You're saying it's better to die than to be in a foster home? No, that's not the way this works. Foster homes, in so many cases, do have beautiful endings too, either because that child grew up and made something out of themselves and out of their lives and had a meaningful life. And I would argue to say every life is meaningful or has a chance to be meaningful. Or a lot of times foster children are adopted, and they're beautiful stories and outcomes that change many, many lives. And you're saying you would rather that child dies than risk not having a perfect peachy keen outcome. Gross. Shame on you. Well, anyway, she continues in this article. She proclaimed, quote, "People have abortions. Sometimes a woman just wants her liberty, and we have to normalize that it's okay just to make that choice for yourself, because your life is as important as a newborn life because your life is as important as a newborn life that doesn't even exist yet." You just called it a newborn life. You didn't even say it was like a clump of cells. You literally admitted it's a newborn life, and then you say it doesn't even exist. So it's a life, but it doesn't exist. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you're saying that your life is yours, arguing that it's more important that your life goes exactly the way you envisioned it than for this other child's life to go maybe the way they envisioned it. Do you see how that does not make any sense at all? It's disgusting to try and rationale behind the left. It's truly gross, because there's no way you can actually rationalize it. She continues, quote, "It took me a while to understand that the first step in every authoritarian regime is controlling reproduction, and that means controlling us," she said. "Unless we, men and women, have power over our own bodies and voices, there's no such thing as a democracy." So what you're saying is that if the government tells you you can't kill people, there can't be a democracy. If the government says, "Hey, hold up there, it's illegal for you to kill," then you're going to scream in their face and say, "No, it's my right to kill whoever I want. And if you deny me the right to kill, then this isn't a democracy. This is an authoritarian regime." Oh my goodness, lady, are you kidding me right now? She even goes on to say, every authoritarian regime I've ever read about, including Hitler's rise to power, every regime starts with controlling reproduction, and that means controlling women's bodies, she said. Oh, so you're going to now control Hitler, titling a mass millions amounts of people as non-human and then killing them, and then you're going to compare that with abortion. Oh, yeah, I can see the correlation. Abortion is also taking a mass amount of millions of people, calling them not people, and killing them. Only thing is, your argument makes no sense, because you're saying that, one, abortion is good, and Hitler's regime of doing the exact same thing as abortion is bad. Maybe you should go relearn your history just a little bit more. Ugh, it just makes me disgusted. Well, now that we know feminists are completely in favor of protecting women, except for if they're in the womb, then you can kill them there. Let's talk about how feminism and modern feminists honor women, because women matter, except if they're born, of course. If they're not born, then that's fine. But the born women, how do we honor the living women? Oh, you know what we should do? Yeah, Cosmo UK, let's put a man on the cover. Yeah, that's going to honor women. Oh, but let's make it even better. Let's put a man on the cover in a dress. Yes, that will honor women everywhere. Yeah, that's exactly what Cosmo UK did. So in Queer Eye personality Jonathan Van Ness, who identifies as non-binary, is making history. Entertainment Tonight, I'll refer to him as ET, reported Van Ness, that's the guy who's non-binary, He tweeted, "First non-female cover star in 35 years," ET wrote. In the stunning photo, Van Ness is rocking a peach-colored Christina Santero dress and Nike sneakers, wearing his luscious locks down and his perfectly trimmed beard in full view. Okay, I'm going to post a picture of it. Oh my gosh. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this, yeah, I wanted to throw up. I literally I gagged a little when I first saw this, because I don't know about you, but I have always, in every straight, beautiful female I know is just like, man, what I really want, what would really honor me and just celebrate my femininity is to get a man in a dress, and that would celebrate me. Not at all. Holy cow. Oops, sorry, I just bumped my camera. Sorry if you're getting a little seizure attack on YouTube. Here's the deal. Feminism and feminists who scream that they want to honor women and make equal rights for women and treat women special, but then they turn around and say, oh, but men and women are the same. That's why we can put men on our magazine now. Just come on. You're killing your own movement. Okay. And not to mention, this dude should not wear a dress. No, I don't know anyone who's going to be attracted to that. Literally not even one. NBC News reported that Cosmo's UK editor-in-chief Claire Hodgson described Van Ness as warm, funny, opinionated, kind, and brave, adding, Cosmopolitan has always tried new things, and we're all for changing up the status quo. We want to represent our diverse and beautiful readership, spark conversation, and shake things up, because all women want to read a mostly female-focused magazine with a man on the front of it. Oh, yay! In June, Van Ness was asked by Out magazine how he felt about being the spokesperson for SE Nail Polish. He's also a spokesperson for a nail polish company, in case you didn't catch that. He responded, "It's really cool. The older I get, the more I think that I'm non-binary. I'm gender non-conforming. Like, some days I feel like a man, but then other days I feel like a woman. I think my energies are really all over the place. Any opportunity I have to break down stereotypes of the binary, I am down for it. I'm here for it. I think that a lot of times gender is used to separate and divide." Oh, you think so? Because, you don't think that men and women are separate and divided. Science tells us that. Biology, common sense. No, he says it's used to divide in such a bad way. He continues here. "It's the social construct that I don't really feel like I fit in the way I used to. I used to always think, oh, I'm like a gay man, but now I think in a way I can let little boys and little girls know how they can express themselves and be like making iconic partnerships with brands like Essie, no matter how they present is really important and exciting." Ooh, that's exciting, because every little girl or woman buying nail polish wants to see a man wearing it, because if a man can pull off that colored nail polish of sparkly pink blue, then you know what? I can wear it too. And if that man looks good in it, then man, I must look good in it. If that man can look sexy and feminine, then maybe it'll make me look sexy and feminine. Says no woman ever. Ugh, give me a break. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, but the thing is, on a happy note, the left has shown itself to be so utterly insane and so utterly ridiculous that I think they'll end up burning out. That's the honest to God truth. I really think that we feel like the movement is bigger than it is because of the money and craziness behind it, and because the few people who do believe in this gender non-conforming, non-binary crap, because they're so loud, it can feel a little suffocating. But I want to remind you, most of our country's pretty well grounded in common sense, and we don't really believe in that nonsense, and we don't think that men wearing dresses and nail polish is sexy and cute. We think it's a little gross, and we don't want our children to see it. So, reality check. I think that if we continue to stand up and speak out, we will just continue to call this out for the craziness that it is, and there will be a shift. And there's already beginning to show a culture shift, even in the abortion industry. Did you know and I'm going to post these stats on Instagram here in the next 2 days, but abortion numbers are going down. The pro-life message is getting out there. The feminists of today that no longer actually stand for anything about promoting female empowerment is now female disempowerment. If you ask me, when you're killing children and babies and little women in the womb, guess what? Their messaging is falling apart. It's gone too far, too extreme, and too loud, and the pro-life movement is winning. We are seeing a change, and I do believe in our lifetime we will see a dramatic culture shift, and we will see abortion become more and more unthinkable. That's the honest to God truth. I really genuinely believe that. But it requires people like me and you speaking up and being willing to say the truth, even in the face of adversity. So there you go. Keep on doing what you're doing, guys. All right. Real quick, before I move on to good in the world, I actually want to tell you, I don't know if I'm going to make this a regular segment or not, but it's things I don't get / people treating their animals like humans. If you've watched me on Instagram, you know that there's very few petty things in this world that get me more worked up than people treating their pets like human beings. It's gross to me. And here's a case for the holiday season that I'm going to bring you straight from. Do you guys know who Matt Walsh is? Well, you can let me know in the comments if you read Matt Walsh. I have been a fan of Matt Walsh's writings for years now. We've met on several occasions and visited. Well, his wife posted on her private Facebook page, she posted, "The most painful and hilarious thing is waiting in line behind people having their dogs photographed with Santa. What is happening?" And then she continues to talk about how there was dog poop in the line that they were attempting to clean up, and how nasty and gross that was. But I just want to say, if you're listening to this and you take your dog to get photos with Santa, you're crazy. Don't do it. It's weird. And I think it's gross. Your dog's a dog. It's an animal. It should have a useful purpose. Unfortunately, today, that's their useful purpose is now replacing humans, in my mind. And I'm trying to remember what comedian it was. I'm trying to think. I think it was like Tim Hawkins. Maybe it's Jim Gaffigan. But they were saying, like, if aliens were looking at us and wondering who rules the world, they think it was our dogs, because here we are walking along. Oh, no, actually, it was Seinfeld. My husband's such a huge Seinfeld fan. Pretty sure I was, like, doing my makeup and he was listening to Seinfeld. But if, us humans are walking along, walking our dogs, and then we stop to pick up their crap and throw it away. And that just embodies everything I think that is wrong with our dog-cat-human relationship. We treat them up here on this pedestal, and then as a culture, I'm not saying you, but as a culture, we're treating humans lower and lower on the pedestal. So there you go. That's my thing I don't get / people treating their dogs like humans, which I think is gross. All right, let's talk about some good in the world, and then we're going to wrap up for today. Also, I really hope you watched last week's episode because it was freaking awesome. My husband is not only freaking adorable, and I love him, and he's so darn cute. But I got to do the episode with him, and it was super fun, super enlightening. I learned some new things. You're going to learn some new things when you go and listen to it. It was awesome. And you'll get to know why I am the way I am, because I'm married to an amazing man. There you go. So, good in the world. Now, I love this story. Remember I mentioned foster care and children who maybe aren't kept by their birth parents? Well, here is a beautiful story and a beautiful example of why we should not abort children who are maybe being born to parents who are incapable of taking care of them. Now, this touching, heartwarming story is a 5-year-old boy in Michigan invited his entire kindergarten class to his adoption hearing so that they could be part of his moment. And they all showed up. And if you look this up and you see the little video, there's all these cute little kids holding like popsicle sticks with hearts on it, and then like cheering for this little boy being adopted by his new mom and dad. I guess he was in foster care for about a year. And then when he was going to be adopted, and he was talking to his parents, basically he was just like, my school is like my family, or like my classmates are like my family. So he invited them all, and they all came. What a beautiful showcase of love overflowing this time of year. And I hope, and honestly, every time of year, adoption is love at one of its finest points in It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. It's a beautiful thing. And you know, maybe some person somewhere, I don't know what this little boy's backstory is, but some person somewhere might have argued that he should have been aborted. But then it would have deprived so many people of his presence and his joy in their life. And this little boy would have been deprived of his life. And that's not acceptable. I refuse to accept that, and so should you, especially with these beautiful moments. And I just want to say, you know, special blessing for this family. God bless them. God bless this class of kids who showed up. God bless all of the moms and dads who adopt. I know I was adopted by my adopted dad now, and I know just how special adoption is. So God bless everyone and their adoptive, beautiful, pro-life spirits. God bless America.
Hey, you know what this part of the video is for. This is the part where I guilt you into subscribing and reviewing. I know, great, right? Well, listen, now that you know what to do, go ahead and do it.